it renovated, raise the rents, stabilize, new tenant base. I just want to sit back and enjoy my money, right? That's the point of real estate. So at that point, I might maybe invest more in index funds, 401k, all that stuff. So, like you said, it definitely varies, but honestly, it's probably gonna take at least 10 years to really stabilize a portfolio, especially if you're going to the multifamily realm. So single family is a bit faster to do it, but it's just not as scalable, right? Because single family is easy. You rent a tenant and you make cash flow day one, right? But then you have to buy because at one point I thought about buying 10 single family homes at cash flow 800 each, and that's 8K a month, right? But the problem is it kind of stays a little bit, you don't get as much appreciation. But versus apartment complex, you kind of get the tax benefits, more tax benefits up front, but you have the potential to always increase your rents every year. And it's like if you increase your rents by $50 and you only have one unit, you only get $50. But if you have 10 units, it's 500.
I'm curious about the appreciation with the apartment complexes. Like, are you seeing people do like midterm rental and some of those, maybe it's smaller, not like the 20 unit, but maybe like 5+, like between 5 to like 10, and then their appreciation go up crazy because they do midterm rental and they can rent so much more than the typical long-term rental?
Yeah. So, I mean, it is a strategy that I even thought myself, where if you have, let's say, two buildings and each are 10 units, one side can be long-term rentals for stability, and then one side can be kind of the midterm rental or short-term rentals even. I will say lenders, they look down upon, kind of weekly stays and monthly stays because it's riskier to them. But if you have a DSCR lender, they don't care as much. They just want to see the income and they want to see your track record. So if you do go down that route, because I tried to buy a 50-unit apartment complex where the guy was doing weekly leases. So it's basically like a hotel, right? But then my lenders were like, no, we want to see long-term leases because it's too risky for the lender. Right? So, you kind of, if you go that route, you might have to use a DSCR lender because they care more about just the DSCR, right? But your interest rate is not going to be as great. So that's something to consider. It's just going to limit your options. But it is a way to juice up your income potentially, right? But it typically, if I thought about midterm rentals too for my single family homes I own, if I can juice up those cash flow a bit, I could probably retire off of it. Because right now I'm just like breaking even or negative off single family homes. So if I do midterm rental, then maybe if I actually make like $2,000-3,000 a month on each of them, then that can add up a little bit. But I do know it's a little bit more work and all that stuff. So I was kind of learning from somebody who has like a VA team in the Philippines, and they train them to basically manage their short-term rental and midterm rental portfolio and respond to the questions and all that. But it takes time to build that. So, but it is a possibility, right? Like if you pay free and clear, then whatever, you can do whatever you want with it. Or if you don't mind the DSCR lenders, you can do it too. So, not to hinder any creativity, but that's what's beautiful about having 20 units, right? You can do it all of the above. Single family, it's long-term, midterm, or short-term. You can do all three in apartment complex, right? If it's yours.
Okay. So basically your next strategy is, if you're gonna acquire another apartment complex, you're looking for seller financing and zero down.
Yeah.
Right?
So
that would be your strategy.
Well, yeah, actually my next goal when I started, because I basically, all my capital is tied up, right? I basically used all my capital. I don't want to leverage anymore or pull on my own lines of credits. But yeah, I'd be looking to go off market, and whether it's single family homes or multifamily, if I can get it zero down and a cash flow, I'll take any deal, right? So that's what I'm going to try to do and approach in the next, honestly, year or two. With interest rates being so high, I think it's a good time to do that. But obviously I hit my mental capacity right now with 90 units. So once I sell my mobile park and once my apartments kind of stabilize and I give myself a little break, I'm really tired and burnt out from doing all this. To be honest, it's not easy, right? Like people make it seem easy, but I'm a one-man show, right? Essentially. So, but I am looking to kind of buy deals really low down, if they want 20% down, what I tell them is well, can I give you 5% a year over the next 4 years? and then use that cash flow from the apartment complex to cover that 5% down. That's zero down, right? So there's ways to structure it creatively to get that. But the key is building that relationship with people.
Yeah.
And that takes time and patience, and I will have time and patience given this next, kind of cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions? So what's kind of your goal and time frame, like to buy?
Me? No, Kat. Go, Kat.
No, you go.
Kat has more capital than I do.
I do not.
More experience.
All of mine's in retirement.
Yeah, like what?
But you can pull it out.
Like what type of time window are you looking to kind of buy, and then like what type of capital? Because that'll determine how much you can buy, right? Because if you're doing renovation, it's about 10K per door, right? So plus your 25% down payment, so you kind of know what your purchase price is. And then based on the purchase price, you can kind of figure out a market. So you kind of work backwards from what you had. That's what I did, kind of starting off.
Well, honestly, I'm looking to, I have a house, a single family in Glendora. So I'm looking to take the equity out of that because I've already done a cash out refinance and it's appreciated beyond that. And so there's all this trapped equity. And one thing about California, I'd say, is all the single family homes, it's just what people are willing to pay, right? And people are willing to pay a lot for a single family home because they just need a place to live. And so I want to just try to take advantage of that in this current market, get out of that, and then take the equity and put it in an apartment complex or maybe to more units, because right now it's about trying to grow as quickly as I can the next 10 years to the point when I retire, and that I can use those units as income on top of my retirement money.
Yeah, so basically, because you live in your primary residence, when you sell it, it's all tax free, up to like I think half a million or something like that, or 250K to $500,000. So you basically can take that tax free, not to do a 1031 exchange. I'm not sure how much equity there's beyond that. Then you might want to consider a 1031 exchange. But what I tell people to do is you do a reverse 1031 exchange. You buy the apartment complex first, then you sell your single family home and shift all of the equity into the apartment. Yeah, because it's less stressful. Because if you're forced in, one of my students was forced in 6 months to have to find something, and I was telling him, like, do not feel pressured. If you have to pay capital gains tax, just pay it. Because if you force yourself to buy a bad deal, you'll lose way more money on that bad deal than you would paying taxes. But if you were to do a reverse 1031 exchange, it's less stress because it's easier to sell a single family home in California than it is to find a good apartment complex. Right? Like, guarantee you, if you want to sell your single family home, you can do it in 6 months. That's easy.
Yeah.
Right. So, that's why I always tell people, like, do it reverse. But the problem with that is you need the capital first to be able to front the money. Then you get it reimbursed to yourself. So that's a hack that I do. And, I might do that myself, to be honest. I call my single family homes in California little piggy banks. Just smash it, take the equity, and buy apartment complexes. And smash it, buy apartment complexes. And if your goal is like 20K a month, then whatever, get like a little 30 unit that pays 700 each. And then once that is paid off, at that point, that's your retirement, right? And you own it yourself, no bank. And then that's all you need. So like, you don't need as much real estate as you think, right? Like, I thought I needed, like, I was chasing a number of 100 just to sound cool. I pretty much, I'm at 90, but my mobile park has more than that. I just didn't fill up. But like, with 50 units paid off, I mean, that's enough to like live a very good lifestyle, and have a retirement, and do it within 10 years, right? So if you do pick a lower end market, you can take your equity. Let's say you have $500,000, you can buy $1 million apartment complex that has 30 units. You only have a 500K loan, and you stabilize that over 10 years. You can probably pay it off, to be honest, in 10 years. And at that point, you just begin all this cash flow from it. You might even need to touch your 401K, right? With that. So, that's what I'm trying to do. And because I'm trying to retire early. I don't want to ideally not work if I don't have to. Unless I have a remote job one day, maybe I'll continue working. If I have to show up, then I prefer to have the option to at least retire. It's more fulfilling for me to teach people than it is to actually do my day-to-day pharmacy job.
Mm.
But when you said 10 years, I find it very believable. So I know you can do it in 10 years. The key is just how many years does it take you to get started?
Well, see, initially I was thinking like if I buy a property, whether it's because it was initially just the 2 to 4, because it's easier to qualify for just conventional loans. So I thought, okay, if I buy anywhere from a duplex to quadplex, 1 to 2 a year, then I can get there. But, you know, just seeing people doing apartments, it's just like, you can't do it in California, but if you do it somewhere else, you could totally scale up quickly.
Yeah, that's what I did, right? Like
You don't need the 2 to 4 every, 1 to 2 a year. You could just do several deals in the next few years and get there.
yeah, like you can buy like what I did, right? I bought 26 units. I bought 46 units for collectively 850K. Right? So
Yeah.
and then what's nice about smaller loan size is you can pay it off faster too if you want to.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's not as much of a burden on you. So yeah, you can totally do that, right? You can trade up you can sell your single family home and go in a cheaper market in the Southeast and, get 10, 20 units and then
Mhm.
basically work to pay that off. If you still don't mind working your job and throwing extra money at it, then boom, you paid off. That's your retirement. And then at that point, if you're retired and you're bored, you can buy more real estate if you want to. So it's just so many options out there, but you have to, most of the big real estate people who retire from it, they've been doing it 10, 15 years. All right. I'm only on year 6. So, it definitely takes a while to build up. But the key is just getting started, to be honest, because time will fly. Time will fly
Yeah.
for that. So that's what led to my success. I'm just action oriented, but a little bit to a fault. I scaled a little too fast. I'll be honest. About 80 units in 8 months, and I had 2 50-plexes under contract during that same 8-month window. So I almost could have bought 180 units in like 8 months. Yeah, yeah. Good thing I didn't. I wouldn't have any hair if I did
Yeah.
from all that stress.
It's like, this is like real estate on meth or something like that.
Yeah, like I
Okay.
said, I am my story is like, just for context, I'm the 1%. Like not many people are doing what I'm doing alone, right?
Yeah.
Most people are doing what I'm doing, syndicating,
True. Yeah.
right? But think about it. If I can buy these apartment complexes in Oklahoma, if I were to come across 100 units, I can easily syndicate because I already have I have a team, I have a track record, I have systems in place, I know the rents, I know the market. At that point, it's easy for me to raise money. People probably throw money at me. So, but that's if I want to go down that route. I'm not sure if I do, because that's another job, right? I'm not sure if I want to do that. I'd rather just buy little apartments myself, and I can wholesale these bigger deals to other people. But it just really depends on like what you want to do.
Did you have flip experience before you bought your apartment complex?
I do not. Just like what Kat said, I don't believe in like flipping wholesaling because it's a one-time fee and you're always working, right? And you get to pay taxes on it, ordinary income tax on it. So for me, I'm always buy and hold, unless it doesn't make sense, and then I'll sell, right? I try not to sell, but I usually go into a mindset of buying and holding because that's how you build wealth, right? Like people who fix and flip, they regret it. Like I know people who fix and flip like 50 homes a year in Vegas, and they started back in 2010. Had they kept all those single family homes, they'd have a nice portfolio that appreciated, that doubled over the past 10 years. So for me, I'm all about keeping it, and that's how you build true wealth, right? Imagine if it's a 30-year loan, even single family home, you pay it off in 30 years. I mean, you can have a couple single family homes in California that are paid off, each giving you $4K a month, times 5, that's $20K. You just have to pay property manager, property tax, insurance, and repairs. Like that's a way to go too. If you don't mind the 30-year route. My problem was I wanted to retire at 35, and I was really ambitious in trying to do that. But I burnt myself out trying to do it. And that's why I bought so much real estate, because I wanted to retire as fast as possible. But ended up burning myself out doing it because I went a little too fast, obviously. And then when you make a mistake, I make a mistake on not one unit, I make a mistake on 90 units. So that's when it starts to compound.
Mhm.
Yeah. So yeah, like you said, I'm super action oriented. Like, you know, I listen to a lot of YouTube podcasts, send mailers, made offers. I was making like 5-6 offers a week for context. Offers that made sense for me. And then, yeah, like I said, if you really put your mind to it and you're really serious and action oriented, you can get a deal in 6 months if you push it, right?
Yeah.
But
Okay.
if you stop and don't do it, that's when you don't get the deals. Because the more you underwrite deals, the more you make offers, the more it's like reps, right? Like we don't become doctors immediately, right? It takes like 8-10 years to do it. And it's a layered learning model, right? When you're P1, you learn from a P2, P2 learns from P3, P3 learns from P4. Like, that's the same thing in real estate. Like you want to learn from somebody one step ahead of you. If you want to get to where I'm going, learn from someone like me. If you want to syndicate 1,000 units, then I'm probably not the best person to learn from because that's not my model, right? So it just really depends on what you want to do.
How many offers did you make, would you say, before like you would get like a hit?
Yeah, I mean, it like I said, I was making 5 offers a week, right? And it took me, I think I started sending mailers in March. I got my first deal in June under contract. So 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah. But I was constantly calling brokers, writing offers, following up with people, trying to network. Like I was going at it, you know, like viciously going at it and being persistent. And because every time you do the reps, that's how you learn, right? Like you don't just master something one time. Like you have to do the reps, and how to talk to owners is a different skill. I mean, fortunately, you know, we're on healthcare, so I think we're a little bit more natural at it, but some people are terrible at it. And like I just said, that's how you get the deal. The difference between getting the deal and not getting the deal is how you talk to them. That's it. It's not even about what the letter is. It's how you talk to them, and build that trust, and then to make it a win-win situation for you both. So yeah, that's kind of how it is. The people that fail, they just don't take the consistent action. And like I say, it's just a numbers game, right? Like you put a certain number of offers out, eventually someone will say yes to your offer. And worst case, if they say no, it gets you to learn about the market and how things are. So, and sometimes when you write the offer, even if it's low, they may call you back in like 3 months and be like, "Oh, are you still interested?" That happened to me on my 20 unit. I wrote an offer, I didn't like it. And he called me back like 3 months later. He's like, "You still interested?" And I was like, "Yeah." And that's the deal. So just showing that because a lot of people are not action oriented. Like, you know, I'm saying a mobile park, like, man, people say, "Oh, I'm gonna make you an offer," and they don't. Now I don't take them seriously, right? Like I'll post on a Facebook forum, I get like 300 messages. Not one of them, maybe 3 out of 300 are serious or actually take action. So just by you taking action, you're already in the 1%, right? And I'm living proof of that. I mean, if you have the capital, that's usually the hard part. But once you have that capital, the next thing is just getting that deal. And it just takes one deal to really hit whatever objective you both have.
Wait, when you said you gave them an offer, did you actually give him like, you know, you had a typed up like written offer, or was it just verbal offer? Like when you
No, you have to give an actual written offer. So it's called a LOI, letter of intent. So there's templates out there. You know, I have one in my mentorship that I use, but you know, they're out. You just Google it, letter of intent template. But it's very simple, right? Just like what's the offer price, what's the earnest money deposit, due diligence time window, how long to close. It just lists everything out, right? What title company do you want to use? What are the terms? And then it's a non-binding agreement. And then once they sign it, that's when you do the official purchase and sale agreement, right? So, you know, but because what was that?
It's like you were the agent. Like you
I am the agent. I did everything. I'm serious. I'm speaking from experience that brokers and realtors are useless because I did it myself, and it's actually easier, like, to communicate directly, and it builds that trust. And like, you know, I literally did it myself. Like, it's not hard. It's literally not hard, like at all. Like, like
Why were you
pharmacotherapy
talking
is
to
harder.
brokers? You said you were talking to brokers but you were doing.
Well, because I want to learn as much as possible, right? Who knows? Maybe one broker might bring me a good deal. I don't know, right? Or worst case, but brokers, from my experience, you check out my channel. I underwrote a bunch of deals that brokers sent to me off market. They're terrible. You can look at some of my videos. I underwrote those live. But I just was doing it just to understand what the value is of the properties.
Mm.
And who knows, they might bring me a good deal down the road, but I'd rather take it to my own control and then do it. I was only doing it just to learn and meet people and talk and learn.
Got it.
That's it. It wasn't because I knew they weren't going to give me a good deal. I still don't think they're going to give me a good deal. And I
Yeah.
purposely, I brought a broker on to one of my podcasts, and even he was just like, "Yeah, most brokers are terrible." And the brokers who are good, they're not going to want to work with people like us because we're new.
Hmm.
So, that's the game that we have to play. So that's why I went off market
Yeah.
with direct mail.
Brokers, especially for these multifamily, these apartments. So I'm talking to one of them. They do a direct mail campaign. That's where they're getting their units. That's where they're getting their sellers, and then they bring it to you, and they've already set it to a certain price, and they're going to get commission off of that. So
Exactly. But then once they're involved, they're already jacking up the price. You already said
Yeah.
the word, right? So if you cut that broker, then that's how you make the money, and you pocket the difference. Because I made $250K. If I had a broker in that deal, the broker, or maybe the person would have made more money, but the broker would have made more money too. So, I say brokers make you broke. It's written
But
in there.
wouldn't
It's
they?
written in the
But
name.
I'm curious because it's only a percentage. Wouldn't they just want to be like, hey, I will bring you a deal, but you give me like quote unquote sign-on bonus, but not dependent on like,
They
percentage
could,
of
or
this.
they can wholesale the deal, right? And they pocket
Oh
the
yeah,
difference,
yeah. That's the term. Yeah.
right?
I
They can
mean,
wholesale, like, okay, well, I'll get it under you for contract for 600K, and if I sell for 800, then I pocket 200K myself. But I can do the same too, right?
Yeah.
If I get a deal. So, to me, I've never had a broker give me any value at all. And I've analyzed thousands of deals myself with students and did direct mail myself. And I've never had a wholesaler bring me a good deal, a broker bring me a good deal. So, maybe one of you can prove me wrong, hopefully. But so far, I've not seen it. And, based on pure probability, the chance of someone new getting a good deal from a broker, it's like 1%. Not like it can't happen. Like my mobile home park was brought to me by a broker, and guess what? That's the one deal that I'm like losing money on, right?
Mhm.
Had I bought it off market myself, I probably could have bought it with some margin and mitigated my downside and not lose money on it. So like I said, I'd rather just go myself direct to and a lot of people don't trust brokers either. Like I don't trust brokers now after my experience working with them. So a lot of owners think the same way. Who own an apartment complex, they got money, right? If you own an apartment complex, you have money. So sometimes they'd rather just work with somebody that they like and know and they trust. And what's more trustworthy than a doctor, right? To want to work with.
Awesome.
So what leverage your 8 years of blood, sweat, and tears for that.
Cool.
Yeah. Any other questions?
No, I don't have any other. Yeah, this is really good. I was taking notes.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
I was trying
hopefully,
to write things down so I remember. Cause
hopefully you learned something. And like you said, I talk a lot about real estate on my channel, so I just listen. Whatever topic it is, there's already a video on there as well. And I'm pretty detail oriented, so like I'm working on some videos where I'm analyzing my appraisal reports. I'm analyzing my purchase and sale agreements that I wrote up. I'm analyzing like my rent rolls, like all that stuff, just to give transparency out there, and no other YouTuber is doing that. So I wanted to like offer that to people who want to learn and actually see the weeds. So yeah, hopefully you guys found it valuable.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Thank you.
Well, thanks for hopping on, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions or know anyone that wants to learn. Happy to talk to people and answer any questions. And if you have additional questions, just shoot them over my way. Happy to help where I can.
Thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Steven.
Yeah. All right. Have a good night, guys.
Have a good night. Bye.
Bye-bye.